Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How to Create More Ups and Opportunities Through Search and Display. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, and DealerOn customers were winners of the Spring and Fall 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards, including the all-important overall winner. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a lead guarantee program. Oh yeah, I said it, a leads guaranteed. So if your website company isn't guaranteeing you leads, well then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Duncan Scarry as our presenter today. Duncan Scarry is the CEO of Haystak Digital Marketing, one of only 16 Google AdWords premier SMB partners in all of North America, and is the only SMB partner that started out as a full-service automotive advertising agency. Duncan Scarry is a nationally recognized authority on automotive digital marketing. With over 15 years of successful offline and online advertising experience, Duncan offers dealers and manufacturers insight into the most effective, progressive automotive marketing methods. Combining advanced technology with old-fashioned customer service, he's put together an amazing team who've helped advance Haystak to be the leading provider of digital marketing services to the auto industry. Haystak's products and services are used by numerous publicly traded retailers and Automotive News Top 125 dealership groups. Duncan is an avid traveler and can be reached at duncan@haystak.com. Is that picture why your last name is Scary?
It could be.
It could be. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we'll respond by email to you later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is also going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our great friends at Haystak Digital Marketing are offering up some outstanding prizes today, but one in particular for one very lucky attendee. What is it? One attendee will win free SEM services from Haystak Digital Marketing for 1 full year. Now, that does not include media, but that's a prize valued at over $14,000 in SEM service fees from the leading SEM provider in the industry. So all you have to do is stay tuned and answer a simple question towards the end of the webinar. And the first one to write in the correct response wins this absolutely amazing prize. And you'll also receive a short survey at the conclusion of today's webinar. Fill it out because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience, and we're also going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn about how to create more ups and opportunities through search and display. Duncan Scarry, I swear I've been trying to get you on my program for 6 months now, and I'm so glad you finally made it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, I'm very happy to be here today. I love all you guys at DealerOn, and so an opportunity to present on your webinar was something I was excited to participate in.
And we're happy to have you here. And this whole business about search and display, huge. Dealerships can't get enough of it. They need as much of it as possible. So I'm so happy you're going to be here today. Who better than you to tell auto dealers what they need to do to improve their search and display? I mean, is there anyone better? I don't think so. Is there?
I can think of several people, but
oh, really?
I appreciate the compliment.
Well, I'll tell you what, everyone. I got a sneak peek at this, and he's going to knock your socks off. So without any further ado, tell everyone what we're going to be learning about today.
All right. What we're going to go through is how the auto shoppers evolved. Obviously, the way someone's shopping for a car today is very, very different than the way they were shopping for a car 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. And understanding how they evolved and how rapidly they evolved really will help you build a better marketing plan. Then we're going to go into some very, very basics about what display and retargeting is and how they work and what options you have. And it's really fundamental and simple, just so people have an understanding of what options are available. And then we're going to go through some of the metrics and ROI and what people can expect to get or to do when they're deploying a search and a display campaign together. And obviously, we're going to leave a little bit of time at the end for questions and answers.
Yes, and audience, please, if you come up with a question, please send it on in, and we'll try and get to it as soon as we can towards the end of the presentation. Thank you so much. And let's get started.
All right.
Duncan.
So just to cover a little bit more about Haystak Digital Marketing is Haystak started as a product of Duncan Scarry Advertising, which is one of the leading auto agencies in the United States. Obviously, we built the product because dealers had an increasing need to market digitally. And over time, that product has gone from a small product to a company in of itself. So we have some really deep and significant relationships with the engines. And I think that our history, being a full-service advertising agency, allows us to bring a little bit better perspective to the table. It's very easy to get blinders on in regard to digital marketing, but the simple fact of the matter is that people don't receive marketing in a silo. They don't just see TV, they don't just hear radio, they don't just read the newspaper, they don't just search online. They do all four of those things, and how your marketing correlates across those mediums is very important to your success. So I think there's some good perspective we can provide. We see a lot of presentations from digital marketing companies that essentially ask you to stop all your traditional advertising, and I think that's not the right direction, and it's not the right mindset. And I think to build a good digital marketing plan, you also have to have a good traditional plan. I think that's something that we're going to be able to talk about a little bit. So we're going to start with how the auto shoppers evolved over the past couple of years, and some of these slides will have virtually nothing to do with search or display. It's really more important to show a trend. And the first trend is actually related to search, but there's just a point to be made about internet usage in general. If you go back over the past 6 years and you look at how many people are searching and how often, 6 years ago in 2006 there were 2.7 billion searches every month. The reason I'm showing you this 6-year chart is because J.D. Power reports that the average age of a vehicle that someone's trading in today is 6.2 years old. And so really it's not many industries that have a purchase cycle that is so big. If you're an orange juice manufacturer, right, people buy that every week. And so the way you change your marketing can be done slowly over time because the person just interacted with you last week. What's important to note is the way the person bought a car from you, researched and purchased a car from you the last time they did, and the way they researched and purchased a car from you today are completely different. So the trend's obviously pretty upward, but population hasn't grown this much. It's just the usage that it's grown this month. Right now in 2011 there were 143 billion searches conducted. And when you hear numbers like that or deficit numbers, when you start hearing billions and trillions, you really get immune to the volume. But Ileana, this is a kind of a good sidebar question that we came up with yesterday. To count from 1 to 143 billion, how long do you think it would take you?
Like 300 years? I don't know.
It's actually 4,500 years.
Oh my gosh!
So basically back when the pyramids were built, you would have had to start counting 1, 2, 3 to get to 143 billion. And so that's the scale that I don't think, you put a chart up here that says 143 billion after it, and people don't realize the scale and how often and how frequently people are searching, that that's how big of a number that is. It would take you 4,500 years to count it. The other element here, when you look at how the industry's changed in the past 6 years, is that Facebook wasn't open to the public until September of 2006. So Facebook is now the most visited site on the internet, people spend more time on Facebook than they do the next 3 largest sites combined, and that just didn't exist the last time someone bought a car. And so the point here is that the world has rapidly changed in the past 6 years, probably more so than it has in the past 20 before that, and the way people shop for a car has dramatically changed. And if your marketing plan is 2 years old or 4 years old, it basically just may not apply to what we're doing today. So, as people, and this is a slide we see all over the place, but as people use the internet as a research tool, they visit fewer dealerships, right? So the orange bar chart here is the percentage of people who purchase a vehicle and use the internet as a research tool. And you can see that clearly go up over time, just like the number of searches went up. The blue is the number of dealerships that someone shops during a single transaction. And you can see that going down dramatically. And one of the things I would love to have a stat on, if we could ever come up with, is how many brochures are purchased by dealerships and how many brochures are distributed by dealerships. And that, 10 years ago, the way someone bought a car was they went into 5 or 6 different car dealerships, they asked for a brochure and got a business card. And that initial interaction was, the cornerstone of creating a customer. Today, people don't walk into a dealership and ask for a brochure. They go online and research the vehicle first. And the difficulty here is that everybody who's running a dealership has been running one for 10 years, probably has a tremendous amount of faith in their ability to hire, train, implement a process, repeat it over and over again, and convince customers to purchase at that dealership. The simple fact of the matter is, today, people are making the vast majority of the decision-making process outside the dealership. They're making that decision-making process online. So if you don't have an aggressive, leading-edge digital marketing program or strategy, people may not even choose your dealership. So all that 20% of gross that you spend on comp doesn't even matter if you can't get the people to your dealership. Now here's dealership ad spending in 2001. 53% of dealership ad spending went to newspaper in 2001. So Ileana, we have some poll questions here. This will be the first poll question. If you could put this together, is what percentage of everybody's marketing budgets goes to digital marketing?
That's right, everyone. If you could please look at your screen, we need your help. We want to know what percentage of your total advertising budget actually goes to digital marketing. So please select one of the following options. Is it 15% or less? Is it somewhere between 16% and 25%? Is it more like 26% to 40%? Or are you one of those very advanced dealerships who's actually over 40%? Chip, I see you writing in. You actually got to vote on the screen. Go to the vote. Vote on the screen. You're supposed to vote. Don't write into me. But I appreciate it. Thank you very much. What we want to do is we want to see your votes counted in the poll question. So if you could, please turn to your screen and select one of those following options. And once we get a majority of the votes, we are going to close the poll and share the results. Votes are still coming in. Thank you so much for voting. And I know you can't see the results yet, Duncan, but I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to close the poll and share the results. So everyone, guess what? 36% of today's audience says that they spend over 40% of their total advertising budget on digital marketing. That is really, really progressive. 30% of today's audience said that they're spending between 26% and 40% of their budget on digital marketing. 27% of today's audience say it's more like 16 to 25% of their budget goes to digital marketing, and a mere 6% say that they're spending about 15% or less on digital marketing. So what do you think about that? 36% of today's audience is spending over 40%. That's great.
I think those numbers are really great. Here are the numbers that NADA says the dealer body spending, which is 24% on internet marketing. And if you look at all the other pieces of the pie here, they haven't changed much. Radio went from 14 to 16. Television went from 14 to 20. Mail went from 6 to 9. Other went from 8 to 9. And so they didn't really change much. The fundamental change is that the internet took over a huge chunk of newspapers' dominance. Now, if you looked at all those trends that I showed you that go from 2 billion searches 6 years ago to 143 billion searches, the real concerning thing with this chart is that this data, the latest data we have from NAD is for 2011. This is November of 2012. We're almost done with this year. And so that we're probably going to expect that this internet budget is going to increase even further, maybe be 27 or 28%. And that's really good that the vast majority of people on this call are spending or committing that much of their budget to digital marketing, because when you have an average, right, I don't think anybody on this call's goal is to be average. You know, everyone's goal in everything they do is generally to be above average. And to get if we look in 2012 and say 27 or 28 or 29% of ad budgets are going to digital, that means that, you know, if you're spending less than 30% on digital, you are below average. And I think that's really, you know, really important to make sure that if you want to be a leading edge dealership and you want to be have a good marketing plan, that you do invest heavily in digital marketing. So I think everybody in the industry has heard of the Zero Moment of Truth study by Google, and I think everybody has some insight into it. But to back up a little bit is why did Google do this study? You know, Google is one of the biggest data warehouses on the planet, and so why are they out surveying people and coming up with a study called the Zero Moment of Truth? Well, the fact of the matter is that if you go to, let's say you want to buy a book, and you go to a search engine, you search for the book, and you end up on Amazon, and you read the review and you don't like the book, and you buy a different book, and you put it in your cart, and you abandon your cart, you come back the next day, and you buy the book, and you use a Visa, and you send it to your house one-day shipping. Simple fact of the matter is that we know everything that's happened in that transaction, from what you searched for, what ad you clicked on, what books you looked at, what parts of the books, you know, did you look at reviews, did you look at product pricing, what type of credit card did you pay with it, how fast did you want it to get shipped, what's your home address, and in some instances even what's your name, what's your age, what's your sex. And there's so much data out there on the internet that it really is easy to make a lot of marketing decisions. Why Google came up with this is because there's huge sections of the economy that people don't or can't purchase the product online, and automobiles are one of them. Automobiles, the auto sales channel is typically referred to as ROPO, research online, purchase offline. And so what Google wanted to do is come up with real data to determine and guide marketers for these types of industries that are research online and purchase offline. And so this study was not created just for the automotive industry. They did it for travel and medical and dental and all sorts of different industries. Now, where they came up with the name Zero Moment of Truth was that Procter & Gamble, who came up with this concept, came up with the concept of the first moment of truth. And they had determined Procter & Gamble is the world's largest advertiser. They're larger than the world's largest advertising agency, right? They split their account up over a number of different agencies. And so they spend a lot of time developing marketing theories. For example, I think a lot of people may have heard of the concept of reach and frequency, which is the currency of buying television and radio. Procter & Gamble invented that too. So Procter & Gamble is really one of the world's leading innovators in the marketing space. They came up with the concept that, you know, someone sees an ad on TV, they buy Tropicana orange juice, and that was the purchase cycle. Well, they put a lot of effort in and found out that when someone sees an ad on TV, the first thing they do is go to the store to buy the orange juice. And they stand there in the store aisle and they look at all the orange juice on the shelf and they decide what to buy or what not to buy. And they determined that that was as influential in the purchase process, if not more influential, than the actual advertising. They actually had a C-level executive called the Chief First Moment of Truth Officer. And if you look at this, is pretty, you know, I was doing a presentation in St. Louis 2 days ago, and it was a perfect example is that, you know, Budweiser beer, do we really need it in a 12-ounce can, a 7-ounce can, a 12-ounce glass bottle, a 16-ounce aluminum bottle, a quart? and all these other packagings that they have for the exact same beer, and that the beer is exactly the same in all that packaging. That is to affect that first moment of truth. That is to take up shelf space. That is to provide the perception of variety, and that helps influence why or why not people purchase Budweiser beer. So what the zero moment of truth came up with is that before anybody interacts with a product, including things like orange juice, the first thing they typically do is go online and research that. And when they go online and research it, what they find online is incredibly influential. Now, there's a giant whopping hole in the middle of this study, and that what they did is they treat every element that influences somebody, and they put it into one of 3 or 4 categories, which is online, offline, and in-store, right? And so here's actually the chart. This is kind of an interior in this, and this is specific to the automotive industry, is what actually influences people to purchase a car. The first and the second one are test drove a vehicle and looked at a vehicle. And in this study, that is characterized as an in-store experience. But realistically, I mean, if you think about it, Eliana, the number one reason someone buys a car or doesn't is they like the car, right? Or they don't like the car, or they drive it and they had a good experience or not. That is something that a dealership is completely incapable of affecting, right? Now, the zero moment of truth categorizes that as an in-store experience. If you take that out, it turns out that in the automotive industry, what happens online influences a customer as to where and what car they purchase more than in the dealership. So if you take that single element out, what you do online is more influential to whether a customer purchases a car from you or not than what you do in the store. So we color coded these. You got light blue are things that you can't control, yellow are things that you can control online, and blue are things that you can control offline. So if you take the light blue out, but these are things you can't control, where should your focus be to influence customers, yellow or dark blue? And clearly it's yellow. And I think that's the point here, is that when we look at how we influence customers, how we convince them to buy cars from us, that our ability to do that is leaving the dealership, it's going online, and that the dealerships who accept that go online and try to make their efforts to convince customers online are going to be incredibly more successful. Automotive is in. Go ahead, Eliana.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to point out that one of our attendees, AJ, said that P&G has a great book out called Eyes on Tomorrow, which covers a lot of this, and so he wanted me to share that with you. You probably already read it.
So it is. I think that you look at you think of advertising agencies or digital marketers or companies like Google as being the innovators in the marketing industry, and quite frankly, you look at television or radio buying, and it's driven by a Procter & Gamble theory. You look at what Google's selling to customers, and it's driven by a Procter & Gamble theory. They really are. They spend a lot of time in marketing. So when consumers go and they consider to buy a car to when they actually do buy a car, it's an incredibly considered process, meaning they take months to do that. The real sweet spot is most people, 1 out of 4 people, take 2 to 3 months before they purchase as to when they consider it. Now, the common thought here is, the dealer affects people at the bottom of the funnel, and the manufacturer affects people at the top of the funnel, and it's just not true. It's just something that is not a fact, is that the dealership is nearly as influential at the beginning of the shopping process as they are at the end. 76% of the consumers who visit a manufacturer website turn around and visit a dealer website within 30 minutes. And so the concept that 2-3 months out, the manufacturer is doing their job, they're convincing the customer what car they want, we're going to wait till that guy's 2 weeks out and then we're going to tell him to come by here, that is a misnomer. That people use dealership websites early in the process, and dealership websites are now the most influential element in how people buy a car. Last year it was the OEM first, dealership second. It's flip-flopped. This year Google's announced, based on their new revised ZMOT study, that the dealership's website is the single most influential source of information as to whether someone buys a car. People go to the manufacturer sites to find out about a car, but then they leave the manufacturer site and go to a dealership site to look at actual inventory, how many of these cars are in stock, how they actually come configured, what they look like priced, how many of these dealers are in my area, how far is it going to be for me to get this car, how are these cars serviced, etc. So the dealership website is completely influential in early on the process. And Ileana, kind of, if you think if a consumer uses a dealership website early in the process, do you think it'd be more likely they buy a car from the dealership or less likely?
More.
More likely. Kind of a common thing. So
well, I mean, if they have a good website, I would say.
Yeah, if they have the right website and they have the right content and they have the right inventory and they have the right prices, then a consumer is going to be more likely to purchase from them. So that's the biggest misnomer I find when I talk to dealers every day, is that, well, the manufacturer is going to do the job 3 months out and I'm going to do the job down here 2 weeks out. And the simple fact of the matter is that the consumer is going to be looking at your website early on, and you need to engage that customer. You need to advertise to that customer. You need to measure that customer, and you need to make an effort to be there for that customer early on. The other element is that 60% of the consumers who visit a dealership, they haven't decided on a make or model when they get to visit a dealership's website. They haven't decided on a make or model when they get there, which is just the same in a dealership. We see dealerships every day tell us, oh, the vast majority of my customers come in on one car and leave having purchased another. Is that people use dealership websites as a research tool to decide on what kind of car they want. And dealerships who acknowledge this and encourage customers to use their websites as research tools are more likely to end up ultimately swaying a customer to purchase a product that they sell. So, and here's the other one that, we always say that and we think we're like shocking people. And every time we say it, no one's shocked, their heads just nod. Is that 9 out of 10 people who visit a dealership have selected a vehicle online. That they've gone online, they have a concept of a vehicle they want. This isn't that they're going to buy that vehicle, but they have an idea as to what vehicle they want by the time they enter the dealership. And we hear, they don't tell you all the time. I mean, we hear stories, or anecdotes where someone comes into a dealership and says, hey, I'm interested in this car, and they get quoted a price, and, well, that's not what I saw online, right? That they don't always walk in and say they've been to your website. They don't always walk in and say that they've picked out a car, but they have. They've gone to a dealership website. They have selected a vehicle, and they've done that before they've ever decided to show up at a dealership. And this is really, when you look at this, how the customer has changed is that, and I kind of touched on this early on, is that dealerships are using the internet to make the buying decision. My wife, and I gave this in my digital dealer speech, I think a year ago, is my wife buys my son a bunch of Easter presents. And I go online, she went on Amazon, and 30 to 40% of the products she bought didn't come from Amazon. And I asked her about it, and she didn't know. She's like, well, yeah, no, I went on Amazon. I bought them from Amazon. Well, here's a company, Bob's House of Toys, that has been completely reduced to nothing more than being a source where you can find a particular product and then being selected solely based on your price and your shipping speed. And while that's never going to happen to the automotive industry because we're not an online e-commerce company, that is becoming true. That people are going online, a store is an outlet to find the vehicle they want, and that if they're not finding that information, that's one of the reasons you need a very, very solid website, is if they're not finding your site, and if they're not finding the information on that site as they need, they're not going to consider your dealership. So I know that everybody says, hey, I want to learn about search and display, and this almost all of this has nothing to do with search and display, but it's really important to lay a good foundation because when we ask you to do display on top of your search, a lot of this, when you say how does display work and why is display viable, a lot of it's viable because it's going to educate, create awareness much further up in the funnel than search is going to. And if you accept the fact that people are using your dealership website or will use your dealership website 2 to 3 months out to help them decide what car they're going to purchase and where, display is a no-brainer, right? If your concept of how you need to market is, well, I'm just going to wait till the customer's ready to buy a car and try to be there, well, search might be a better element for that. So I think this, while none of this talks specifically about search and display, understanding how far out consumers are using your websites is fundamental to being able to build a good marketing plan. So then we're going to go into what is display and remarketing, and this is where we have another poll question that we want to see. Basically, who is doing display out there and how much are they doing? So Ileana, if you could run that poll question.
Yes, everyone, please look at your screen now. We want to know what you know about search and display. So do you currently, like today, like right now, do you currently do any banner or display advertising? Please select one of the following answers, and when we get a majority of the votes, we'll close the poll and share the results. So do you currently do any banner or display advertising? None? Do you do very little, maybe under $1,000? Or yes, absolutely, we do over 1,000. We're not really asking for specifics. We just want to know, is it no, very little, or yes? So we almost everyone's voting. Who out there is not voting? Come on now. Oh, there we go. Okay, so once we get most of the votes, hey, one of your people, Kathy, wrote in. He says, "You bet with Haystak." Thanks, Kathy. So we're going to close the poll and share the results with all of you. Well, Duncan, you're going to be very pleased with this because I told you, my audience, they're smart. 54% of today's audience said yes, they do, and they spend over $1,000 doing it. 30% of today's audience said very little, maybe under $1,000, and we have 16% of today's audience that still are not currently doing any banner or display advertising, which I'm pretty sure you're going to tell us about right now, right?
Yeah, well, and those answers are very atypical, right, of what we see out in the marketplace, that you're probably getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 to 80% of the people doing no display at all. And so, it's nice that we have a forward-thinking bunch of people on the phone here. But the typical answers are going to be 70-80% of the people are not doing display and retargeting. So I'm going to go through display and retargeting, what the options are, and really, just so you understand what it is and how we can control it. First and foremost, a lot of people refer to it as banner ads, and that's a fine definition of it. But the industry is really moving more towards calling it display advertising because there's a lot of different elements to it. But if you go onto a website and you go anywhere online to any site, you will see ads. They're at the top, they're at the side, they're at the right. So I've got it circled here. So I'm sure you've seen an example of a banner ad before, and that's what we're doing. Display ads, they're visual ads that show up on websites that are meant to be clicked or interacted with. Now, I'm going to go way back. Display advertising is a very, very old form of advertising. This ad at the top that says, "Have you ever clicked your mouse right here?" was actually what is highly purported to be the very first banner ad ever. It ran in 1994 as part of an AT&T campaign. And the images I have below from there are from that television campaign. I'm actually going to tweet a link to that video there. It says "Predicting the Future," and it's got a link to that video. I'm tweeting it right now on our at Haystak, Haystak digital account, and Ileana, you guys are going to be tweeting that too, so people can get that?
Yep, we just tweeted it as well. So whether you're fans of one of our companies or both of our companies, you should get that link. And it's pretty interesting. I actually watched it, and I remember seeing those commercials way back when, because that commercial was what year?
The commercial was 1993. So
1993.
I'm not going to ask you how old you are, Ileana, because that would be inappropriate.
I'm proud of my age.
But I'll tell you that I was in high school in 1993, right? So this is a lifetime ago that these television series that came out, and this is almost a side note of how interesting they are. The ad campaign that said, "Have you ever," and then had some interesting thing. "Have you ever done this?" Well, you will, and AT&T is the company that's going to bring it to you. And they said, "Have you ever done?" And they started showing these really futuristic concepts. And what's frightening about this series of videos is that if you look at that video, there's 3 or 4 television commercials in there, and each commercial contains 3 different visions of the future. And of all 12 of those, only 1 is inaccurate. In that commercial, they predicted ebooks. They said, have you ever borrowed a book from 1,000 miles away? They predicted GPSs in cars, which is that second picture. Doesn't that look strikingly like a dashboard GPS in a car? They said, have you ever driven cross-country and not asked for directions? They predicted tablets. That guy, top third, they said, have you ever sent a fax from the beach and he's writing on a tablet? They said, have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? She said, and that was an in-car system for paying tolls. It said, the one on the bottom left is, have you ever opened your door with just your voice, which is home automation. The next one in line is, have you ever attended a meeting in bare feet? And it's a guy video chatting with, he's having an online meeting like we are right now. The second to last one is, have you ever watched a movie when you want and where you want? And it's a kid going up to what appears to be a flat screen on the wall and going through a list of movies and playing one, much as Netflix is right now. And that final one in the bottom right corner is have you ever learned from 1,000 miles away? And that is actually online education. And it's really amazing that in 1993 they made all these predictions, and they're so spot on. Now, the first banner ad, ironically, was a prediction that there'd be banner ads on the internet. And so it's a really kind of interesting thing. Now, what's also odd is how it performed, is that we see performance on banner ads from 0.06%, so 0.06% to 0.12%. That's a typical click-through ratio. The first banner ad had a click-through ratio of 78%. And so it was a really interesting concept how well AT&T predicted the future. Kind of sad that they had this kind of crystal ball and didn't create all these products because they'd be the biggest, company on the planet. But that was the first banner ad ever. So it's probably, almost 20 years ago at this point in time.
Well, purported. Okay, so just so you know, we had a lot of people that wrote in, and I want to let you know, I remember that commercial. I remember that commercial from AT&T, and I remember when the car speeds through at high speed through the toll booth and says, have you ever paid a toll booth without slowing down? And I was like, oh, man, that would be so cool. So I totally remember that.
So it is purported, meaning that they claim that a law firm was the first company who ever put an online, what they called it was a clickable ad on a website. But if you just were to Google first display ad ever, that ad's going to come up in like 9 out of 10 places as the first one. So whether that's actually the first one ever or not, I think that it's an interesting concept of how long ago it was and the differences in performance. So now here's where we start getting into what is display. Is that I think everybody most of the people we meet, when I say we have 70-80% people not doing display, when we talk to dealers and ask them how many are doing search, 70 to 80% are doing search. And there's a bit of a difficulty there, is that dealers are sharp, marketing is important to them, and the engines are flooded with search engine marketing, all from very good companies, highly competitive dealers, big investments in the area, and that it is very intelligent, high ROI, good conversion rates. The difficulty is that people spend 95% of the time that they spend on the internet is not in a search engine, right? So when we're trying to grab people online, if we're only focusing on the search engine, we're focusing on one of the smallest segments of what people do online, which is search. And so again, you start building up this, building up a pretty good case here that, people are using this online, people are making decisions online. People are starting their consideration process much farther than we thought. People are using dealership websites earlier on in the process, and people spend the vast majority of the time that they spend online not in a search engine. All of these things just continue to make the case for how important display is to a good marketing plan. And so it's really, when you look at how this is the path that we're going down here, is that display is critical for dealers. Everybody on this call is saying, oh, I spend more than 40% in online. if you want to stay ahead of your competitors are going to get to 40% online, right? They're already at 30. If you want to get ahead of your competitors, you need to keep pushing that spend. You need to add more display, and that is going to be the edge and the advantage that you get. When you look at the marketplace and see who's buying ads, you go to Digital Dealer, and it's a good show, but 50% of the webinar, the seminars that are on social and email and microsites and this, that, and the other. The simple fact of the matter is the vast majority of money that people pump into digital marketing goes to search and display. Now, this is a global number. This is a U.S. number for all industries. Now, it's kind of sometimes some guys take it as a slap in the face, but quite frankly, the retail automotive industry is several years behind the biggest advertisers. And that's where you see most of this display coming from, is that the more advanced brands are investing very, very heavily in display as part of what they're doing. So if you look at the biggest, most influential, leading-edge brands, they're investing heavily in display. All the other things, social media, this, that, and the other, they have very little spend. So when you look at where the industry is spending their money, they're spending it in search and they're spending it in display. This number, I didn't do a percentage. We have another slide that says 91% of all online ad dollars go to search and display. And so really kind of, this is a little bit of a wake-up call from people that that display is significantly more important to the digital marketing landscape than a lot of dealers think it is. So the biggest ad network on the internet is specific media. The second biggest is the Google Display Network, and there's a big difference between them. The Google Display Network is actually an ad exchange, and the specific media is actually an ad network. And again, specific media really only got that spot by purchasing MySpace. Google Display Network is the world's largest network. And the difference between a network and an exchange is the amount of control that the advertiser has in placing ads. And if you go to a network, the network is going to make the decisions as to where the ads go. If you go to an exchange, you are going to make the decision as to where the ads go. You are going to make a decision on bids. So this is the image I showed you before with the ad on the right. When you look in GDN, there's really 3 to 4 main ways to decide where your ad ends up online. And the first one is simply placement targeting. You can actually pick the websites that you would like this ad to show up based on the website. And it would run anywhere on that website. There are different size ad units. And just like search, when your ad runs or how often it runs really is dictated by your bid. In the Google Display Network, when you see we have something here, creative assets, there's text ad units and image ad units. Has anybody seen, Eliana, have you ever seen on the side of a website a bunch of, they look like search marketing ads, but they're on a newspaper website or something like that?
Yeah, it's a little confusing.
Yeah, those are actually display ads, but they just take text from your search marketing ad. That's something that everybody needs to stay very, very far away from. They perform very poorly. They deliver a lot of impressions, but very few clicks. And so really when you go into display, despite the fact that you're going to have text ad units available in almost all these areas, you want to avoid the text ad units. And you simply want to go with the image ad units. The bidding methodology, and you'll see that this is repeated on almost every page going forward, is we can buy cost per click or cost per thousand. We're going to recommend that everybody who buys on a cost per click basis. That is where the display is delivered, and you only pay when somebody clicks on the ad. And the reason is not that we're trying to try to increase the amount of clicks. The reason is that is a more efficient way of controlling cost. You can still calculate a cost per thousand in the end. The next element is contextual ad targeting. This is where on any website that's in GDN, you can place an ad based on what text is on the page. And so if you're a Honda dealer, you can use the word Honda. So any page that mentions Honda, you want to place an ad on. And you have all the same controls that you would have with a search marketing term. So you could say, I want to be on any page where the word says Honda Accord, and I also want to use a negative keyword, crash, sucks, death, negligent, right, to make sure you show up on Honda Accord pages that don't have negative content. The first one I showed you, which is placement targeting, is where you are going to deliver the most impressions and get the most clicks. Keyword contextual targeting is highly targeted, has a much better CTR, but is delivered very infrequently. So when you buy display, you're actually going to mix several different types of placements. It's kind of like a stock portfolio, right? You buy stocks, you buy bonds, you buy exchange-traded funds, and together it makes a good portfolio. Buying display, you need to buy several different types of placements, and together placements will give you the volume, keywords will give you the quality, interests and topics will give you behavioral, and retargeting will give you, a very high rate of return.
So you should diversify.
Yes, you absolutely. When you buy display, you do not want to get into one category. We're typically buying 5 to 6 different ad groups for display, and it's, this is something that we wouldn't publish on the internet, and I guess we're going to right now if I tell you what they are. But it's kind of what we think makes a good campaign is we have an ad group for what we call the volume sites, right? Volume sites are things like Yahoo, About.com, eHow, Ask.com, Weather.com, AccuWeather. Those sites tend to be very inexpensive, and we're capable of delivering a lot of volume, and we can get a lot of impressions there. The next area we typically buy is keyword contextual, and so we look at keywords that are applicable to the store, applicable to the brand, and we create an ad group for that. The next one is interest and topic targeting. That there are over 1,700 interests and topics available, and as much as everybody complains about privacy, you have none on Google. And if you visit 5 automotive shopping sites, they will characterize you as an auto shopper, and we can tap into that and deliver. We can deliver ads to people who visited auto shopping sites. The final one is remarketing. And this is the most powerful, produces the highest ROI. And this is where we actually put a code on your site. And when people visit your site and leave your site and go back out into the internet and visit other sites, we deliver them ads. And obviously, someone who's been to your site is a very qualified customer, just inherently having been to your site before. And so these are the mixtures we make. Volume sites, keyword contextual targeting, behavioral targeting, and retargeting. We put all those together, and that's kind of like a good stock portfolio. It gives you the volume of the big sites. It gives you the targeting of remarketing and behavioral, and combined, you get a very good buy out of that. So now, Ileana, you dared me to go to 1 o'clock, right? And I'm pretty close. So I still have a bunch of slides left. So I am going to speed up so that if there is any questions, we can attend to them, right?
Okay.
But metrics and ROI. Now, this is something that maybe we should have had a poll question for, but does this slide here look like Ileana, does that look like your house?
Oh my gosh, totally. You're missing my 4-year-old son who is also on a tablet, though.
Yeah, now the one guy in the bottom left corner does get me a little bit because he is on his laptop and his phone simultaneously, which even I don't do, right? But this is the reality of how we consume media these days, is that we'll sit there and we'll watch television, and we'll also go online or have our phone or our tablet, and we could be doing different things. We could be watching the news and reading the news. We could be watching TV and Googling for a product that we saw on TV. And this is the fragmentation of getting our message to consumers. Now, we see people who don't have cable in their house anymore or don't have home telephone. They only watch TV on Hulu and Netflix, and they don't have a home phone because they have a cell phone. And this fragmentation is making it very hard to reach consumers. And that's why when you look at the overall marketing plan from traditional to digital, that display is that gap between digital and traditional that is critical to a good plan. Ileana, I'm sure you've always heard the phrase that 20% of the beer drinkers drink 80% of the beer, and it's like an advertising euphemism that that in a lot of instances your product, the minority of your customers consume the majority of your product, and that's no different than television, right? 20% of television viewers get 60 to 80% of all ad impressions. That there are simply people out there who are heavy TV users and see a lot of the ads. And the difficulty here is that's part of that fragmentation. People who are watching Netflix, people who are watching Hulu, people who are watching who skip through commercials, people who don't watch TV at all but only watch on, go home and don't turn the TV on but are on their cell phone or tablet or laptop. And that as an advertiser, you can reach the number of people receiving your ad impressions by 24% if you're utilizing all 4 screens, okay, and those screens being television, computer, tablet, and mobile, right? And so display, there's no way you're going to be delivering the types of impressions if you don't have display in your mix. Now, when you run display with a search campaign, that your brand recall goes up, the likelihood to visit your website goes up, the likelihood to purchase your product goes up. So those two together really create a 1 + 1 = 3 event, and that when somebody sees your display ad, and then they're more likely to search for you. For example, in our search campaign, and I think people have probably seen our display campaign. When our display campaign is running, the number of searches for Haystak digital marketing doubles. When our display campaign is not running, it goes down by half.
Really?
Yeah, and that what it is that we're keeping our name in front of people, and then they go, yeah, I'll go ahead and learn about that product. And it's no different with an auto dealership, that when you run large volumes of display, your search volume goes up because you're generating that demand. So people typically, automotive clients who have a GDN campaign had a 26% lift in visits, so they had 26% of incremental visitors who were exposed to the ad, and a 21% lift in search, right? So if you had 100 people who click on your ad every day and you run a significant display campaign, you're going to have 120 people per day looking for or clicking on your ad. And that's really what this is. What this is about is that we use the display to generate demand, right? Now for us, we're running a promo right now. Actually, we haven't even announced it, so we'll announce it here, just kind of give people a heads up. But we're, for Haystak, for people who add a qualifying display package between now and December 31st, they're actually going to receive a Nexus 7 tablet at no charge. And I know typically we like to keep these webinars, in a very educational format. So we're not going to dwell on this point, but I think it's if anybody is interested or considering it, there's obviously some advantages to taking advantage of it now. So at this point, Ileana, we're going to kind of finish up because I did accept your challenge and make it 12:54, and because I like to hear myself talk, and we're going to go through and hopefully do our prizes and our questions and everything like that.
Yes, we are, and I'm going to let people know if you have any more questions, send them in because we're going to get to those shortly. We do have some good questions already in the queue. We are going to try and still. Oh, here we go. More questions coming in. Okay, so without further ado, I know that we had talked earlier about the announcement that, oh my gosh, a lot of questions are coming in. If you came to the webinar a little late, then you might have missed my announcement that our friends at Haystak Digital Marketing are offering up an amazing prize today for one lucky attendee. One person here today is going to win free SEM services from Haystak Digital Marketing for 1 full year. It does not include media. It is for the SEM service fees. But a whole year of no SEM fees, that still winds up being over $14,000 from the leading search engine marketing provider in the industry. This is a absolutely astounding giveaway we're doing today. All you have to do is answer a simple question. Actually, it might not be so simple. I read the question. And first one to write in with the correct response is going to win this totally cool prize. And it may be a chilly November day, but I'm sweating bullets over here because I have never given away a prize worth this much. So I want you to get in front of your keyboards, get ready, get your fingers all loosened up, and I will let you know this is something that you heard during Duncan's presentation today. He said it very quickly. A lot of questions are coming in. He said it very quickly. I don't even know if you picked up on it. It was not in a slide. It was something he mentioned. For a $14,000 prize, he made it tough. So you had to really be paying attention. So here we go. First person to get this one right is going to be winning a really awesome prize. Okay, so earlier on in the show, he showed an ad that was purported to be the first banner ad ever. It was for AT&T. It was on Hotwired. And the question is, what was the click-through ratio for that ad? I haven't gotten a winner yet. Thank you for the people who did. Oh, my God, we have a winner. I can't believe somebody wrote in with the right response. I didn't think any of you got it. Oh, my gosh, we have a winner. Please stop writing in. We have a winner. I'm very excited. The correct answer was 78%. Lee Fogel, where are you from? You wrote in with the correct response. You're actually the only, two people wrote in the correct response, but you were the first one, Lee, and I want to let you know I'm giving you high props for being one of only two people who wrote in the correct response. Brett Pomerantz, you were the other one who wrote in the correct response. I'm so sorry, but Lee beat you to it. Brett, I understand your frustration. Lee, Brett Pomerantz is going to come and find you. So Lee Fogel is from Florence, Kentucky. Lee, write in and let me know what dealership you're from so I can give you high praise. Lee's he's so funny. Okay, Brett says, haha, kidding, tell Duncan what's up. Lee. Brett, Lee says he's sorry, but he had to do it. He is from Zimmer, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. Lee Fogel, congratulations. You have done your dealership proud and want to congratulate you. You have walked away with an absolutely amazing prize. Duncan, you are going to have somebody contact Lee. Is that right?
Yeah, so give me the information afterwards, and we will get in touch with them.
I will absolutely do that. Thank you, everyone, for participating in our fantastic giveaway from Haystak. And don't stop there. You know what? Haystak, like I said, is offering up those great Nexus 7 tablets. So if you want to take advantage of what Haystak has to offer, you know, it only takes a minimum of 2 consecutive months, and you walk away with another cool prize. And don't forget to answer those great survey questions at the very end of today's webinar, and you could also win some more prizes from Google. So we're all about the prizes here. Thank you so much for playing. And you know what? Let's start with some answers. We had one come in pretty early question. Are you ready, Duncan, to get real with my audience and answer some of these tough questions? Because they don't pull any punches. They're going to ask you the tough ones.
I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay, here we go. First question comes to us from Alex. Alex wrote in, hey, Duncan, it's Alex Jefferson. Thank you very much for that. Do you think there is any click fraud with robots involved in the Google Display network? Sometimes when I look at my analytics from Display, I see time on site of under 5 seconds for some visits. This doesn't happen all the time, but it does cause me to wonder when I see it on some days. Now that's a really interesting question. I wouldn't even have thought to ask that.
Yeah, no, I don't inherently see a lot of click fraud from robots. I think that there's one of the things that really needs to be understood is there's some pretty odd statistics that happen in Google Analytics for a couple of reasons. Number one is that when somebody bounces, the time that they spend on the site may or may not be counted in your time or site from that category. So that's a setting that you can set in Google Analytics, right? So people who are bouncing that time on site may not actually be included in that number. Now we do see a much higher bounce rate from display and a much lower time on site, and a lot of that has to do with the engagement that you create. So for example, if you have a banner ad that says, hey, look at our Mazda 3, and you drop them off on your homepage, you're going to experience a pretty high bounce rate. So the bounce rate's pretty high already, number one. Number two is what the ad says and what the content on your site is pretty important to maintaining that. And number two is what settings you have in Google Analytics is important to understanding what that actually means, and that you might be looking at a number that is the calculation of people who bounced minus some particular time on site. So I don't see a lot. Google's very good at refunding money for click fraud. I think we see more what we perceive as click fraud from Facebook display.
Wow, that's great. Alex, thank you so much for such an interesting question. Our next question comes to us from AJ. He says, based on the dealership being influential at the beginning of the search process, is remarketing more important than branding in an SEM strategy?
No. Remarketing, when you say branding, I'm going to assume you mean buying your own name, and that I don't think one is inherently more important than the next. I think that when we look at people buying their brand name as a keyword, we typically say about 30% of our traffic coming from that keyword, yet only 5% of their expense going to that keyword. And so since the quality score on your name is typically so high, it's very, very inexpensive to purchase that. And I don't think anybody would want to touch 30% of their search traffic or risk competitors showing up under their name for such a small amount of money. So I really don't think ever not buying your name is the right option. And number two, remarketing performs at a lower rate than search does. And so the ROI from it is significantly lower. And so we always need to add our digital marketing mediums or ad segments from the highest ROI first and add them, as we get lower down there. So I don't think remarketing is more important than any single segment of search.
Okay, well, you know what? You're going to have some more questions from AJ coming up in a minute here, so thank you so much for that one, AJ. Let's go to this next question. Actually, this one's back to Alex. He had a follow-up question. When you run the higher volume ads that are not automotive specific, do you negatively affect your display quality score?
Display quality score is more of a black box than search marketing quality score is. They really don't give you as much detail on how the quality score is constructed. Obviously, the assumption is it's largely constructed off your CTR. I really would not recommend any branding or non-automotive ads. Is that your creative needs to give the consumer a reason to click. So, for example, if your banner ad is just your dealership logo and your tagline, I think you probably shouldn't be doing display if that's the best offer you can come up with. You really need to come up with an offer that says something that gives somebody a reason to click and gives anybody a reason to click. So, if let's say you're a Honda dealership, putting in an Accord for $149 is a better offer than just putting your logo, but what about the people who want a Civic or a Pilot or a CRV? So I think really good display offers are ones that are interesting, that are broad-based, and encourage someone to click. So an offer like all of our Honda inventory starts at $199 a month, view our inventory here, would be something that I think is a good display ad. So I think I don't really recommend for the average dealership a lot of branding display, meaning display ads that don't have a specific offer, that aren't encouraging a click. I think that is much, much, much farther up the funnel.
Well, Alex did write back in, and he said, I meant when you're in topic and interest segments that are non-automotive specific, for instance, advertising on news sites versus Edmunds, or advertising on ESPN versus KBB.
Yeah, well, when you separate the volume sites into its own ad group, it contains the quality score a little bit more within that ad group. So if we go into behavioral only, we just aren't going to generate a significant amount of volume. The kind of way we look at it is when you build a display campaign, let's say you have American Idol, right, as a TV show. Well, 15% of the people watch American Idol. But it could be you, Ileana, it could be me, it could be a 13-year-old girl, and it could be my 90-year-old grandma. And so while it reaches a ton of people, it's not very targeted. If we go to a television station like the Golf Channel, well, everybody who watches the Golf Channel plays golf. And so it's highly, highly targeted, but nobody watches it. It rarely even receives a 0.1 rating point. And so in that TV analogy, you have one segment that reaches thousands or millions of people but is very untargeted, and one that reaches a very, very targeted set of people but just has no reach. And so mixing a large volume YouTube eHow about with an auto shopping category, again, helps you build volume along with quality. And that if you just focus on quality alone, you end up really not delivering many impressions or garnering many clicks.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, so there's like a whole science to this. I'm starting to pick up what you're dropping off now. Alex, I hope that helped you out. Duncan, come on, you got to show everyone the picture with the bear again. Can you go to the next slide, please? There we go. That's the Duncan we know and love. All right, next question comes to us from Kathy. She says, what metrics do I need to pay attention to in order to evaluate results of search and display?
The two biggest metrics you're going to want to pay attention to are your CPM and your CTR, right? So CPM, you're going to want to keep a low CPM, maybe between $2.50 per thousand and $4.50 per thousand. And again, those change market per market. You get to Ocala, Florida, and the CPM is going to be much lower than it is in Chicago, Illinois. So CPM, you want to keep your CPMs low, and you want to keep your CTRs high. And the reason you want to look at both of those is with a low CPM, you're going to be able to get your, again, if you remember I said your reach, right? So a low CPM is going to allow you to reach the most people possible, and a high CTR means you're doing it in a very targeted manner. And so when you're looking at CTRs, you're really going to want to see that your main CTR is hitting something like a 0.09. And that doesn't mean that somewhere in your campaign you're not getting a 0.04 and somewhere you're getting a 0.16, but you really kind of want to hover around a 0.09 and it'd be an appropriate CTR. And an appropriate CPM is going to be somewhere between $2.50 and $4.50, depending on, Brett, you're in Philadelphia, your CPM is going to be higher than someone, I think the guy from Zimmer is in somewhere in Kentucky, his CPM is going to be lower.
Gotcha. Kathy, I hope that helped you out. Next question comes to us from Brett. He says, when using your online ad spend, PPC, retargeting, etc., in the auto world where you can't measure direct e-commerce sales, how would you track your PPC performance as related to sales, not traffic, just sales alone?
I think that's a struggle, and that I think attempting to make that happen, you're going to get bad information. And that, I know this is going to sound like this is not the answer you want, but the simple trying to create that number and not having that number and making judgments based on the number is a little difficult. We tend, we give this example, right? And when you look across the board, when we have good conversion tracking enabled, and that means we're able to track the phone number and the form conversions, we tend to convert at 11%. That means 11% of the people who come to a website through search and display end up converting into a phone call or an email. The number J.D. Power says the percentage of people who use the internet to research a car is 84%, right? So focusing your efforts on conversion tracking is actually a worse idea than focusing your efforts on people not using the internet, right? So the number of people that don't use the internet is 16%. The number of people who end up converting is 11%. So the segments of conversion the segment of conversion is a very, very small percentage of customers. And what we're going to recommend that you do is you go back and look at your search query reports or your tracking reports. In our system, it'll say tracking report. If you're in AdWords itself, it'll be a search query report. And if you look at that search query report, that will show you exactly what people are typing in when your ad is triggered. And if you look at that, look at the ad that's triggered, and you can make a gut feeling, that those searches are viable customers. I think that is the best, the best way of judging the success or failure of digital marketing. There's so much more in the world that is much bigger or is believed in or is thought to be true based on much less. So I really think the focus really needs to be on looking at what you're doing with a sharp mind and having faith that if the analytics exist, it's working. And that since you can't correlate it, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. So I think the answer is I really wouldn't try to turn my search marketing into a sales figure. I don't think you're going to be capable of coming up with that number. And if you come up with a bad one, it could hurt your search marketing.
Wise. All right, Brett, well, I hope that helped you out. Certainly if you have a follow-up question, let us know. And let's keep moving. We still have a lot of questions to get to, actually. Chip has a great question. Does your remarketing program use cookie or pixel technology? Do you have any idea, Duncan, to help Chip?
Yeah, it's going to cookie the user. Pixel is it's kind of like Kleenex, right? Is that back in the day, the way you would track that a page is viewed is by putting a pixel on it, and that would be a 1-by-1 image where that image actually resided on a different server, and you would basically count the number of times that was requested. So today, anything that goes on a site to track somebody is called a pixel, right? So it's really not an accurate term for much of what we put on websites today. But the remarketing that we use is largely through GDN, and so that we're using their code or their code in combination with Google Analytics, and that does cookie the user, and that's how they're tracked. And almost all remarketing is tracked through a JavaScript cookie.
Okay, Chip, that was a really interesting question. Thank you so much for that. Next question comes to us from Denise. Denise wants to know, what sort of CPCs can we expect from a display campaign?
CPCs, and again, you're probably going to look in the $2 to $6 range depending on your market. While we buy on a CPC basis, right, we're really looking at the CPM basis. And so again, I think really what you need to look at when you're buying display is the CPM and not the CPC. So if you look at the CPM and the CTR, those are the numbers we're looking at. Buying on a CPC basis is not because we're trying to control the number of clicks or the cost of the click. We buy on a CPC basis because it seems like a more effective way of controlling the sites and the delivery than the CPM basis does.
And does any of that, does some of that have to do with just the location, the geography?
Yeah, obviously the bigger market you are, the more competitive brand. If you're a Scion dealer in Ocala, your cost per click will be next to nothing, and if you're a Toyota dealer in Chicago, your cost per click will be very, very high. So it's kind of like saying, how much is a car payment? Right? There's car payments for $99 per month, and there's car payments that are $25,000 a month if it's a Bentley. So where they hover, like I said, is I think between 2 and 6. Depending on your market, but also based on your application, they could be significantly more or significantly less. We're talking mainly about GDN here. Actually, Facebook delivers 30% of the world's display ads. So almost 1 in 3 display ads that is ever delivered is delivered on Facebook. Now that ad unit is different. It's partially text and partially a picture, but on Facebook you could expect CPMs from 30 cents to 80 cents and CPCs from 20 cents to 80 cents. So I think I'm specifically referring to GDN in this regard.
Gotcha. Denise, hope that helped you out. Let's rock on to the next question, which is from, oh boy, I hope I can say her name right, Jo Chen Oh, I don't know if I said that right. You can verbally spank me later. How do you stop competitors from clicking on my ad and wasting my money? Ouch.
Well, you can't stop a competitor from clicking on your ad and wasting your money at all unless they do it in significant volume. And Google will look at the number of times the ad is clicked on, the frequency between the time frame between those clicks, the fact that it's a singular user, and then if you do have, what they do on the page after that. So Google competitors clicking on your ads is part of Google's click fraud program. But if your competitor clicks on one of your ads, there's nothing we can do. But if your competitor clicks on your ads 10 times in a row, 3 days in a row, that's typically going to be identified by Google's click fraud tool. And the way you see that is not in your reporting. It actually is a credit on your invoice.
Do dealers really, is that like a prevalent problem? I really don't know. Is that prevalent?
I don't think it's a prevalent problem, but I'm sure it happens. But I don't think it's an issue I'm concerned myself with too much. Is that some of my waste is going to go to my competitor clicking on my ad? Some of the people that hurt their own campaigns the most are actually dealers. We tell dealers every day, don't search for your ad. And 2 days later, they call us back with screenshots of 50 to 100 different searches they performed looking for their ads. And, if you remember back, I said CTR is one of the fundamental, it's the foundation of the quality score. And so if you search for your ads 100 times and don't click on any of them, you're actually hurting your quality score. So realistically, I'd be more concerned with my own customer trying to look at their own ads and click on their ads or not click on them than I would my competitors.
Oh my God. Well, when you put it like that, it kind of makes sense. Okay, well, I hope that answered your question, Joe Chen. Okay, let's go to this next question from Kathy. She says, where can I find info on the good ratios or percentage to compare my analytics against?
There's really not a really good set of that. Google Analytics used to provide benchmarking, but it was really a bad set of data because they would take all automotive shopping sites and lump dealers together. I think really the best resource would be a provider like ourselves or another company that has a lot of customers and sees a lot of variations in performance, so that they can share those, share that with you. But there really is not a very good competitive analytics database. The one that Google used to provide actually really was very poorly done in the sense that, a car dealer and an auto blog and Edmunds are all very different types of websites, and they didn't separate those. So I think really you're going to need to kind of lean on an expert, someone who's dealing with dozens or hundreds or thousands of sites and ask their opinions on those numbers.
Okay, Kathy, hope that helped you out. Let's keep moving on. AJ has a question. He said this is back to the answer to Alex's very first question. So way back about 3 minutes ago when you answered Alex's question. Can you measure your bounce rate and time on site separately for your SEM and your organic visits?
Yeah. So in your Google Analytics, when traffic's delivered to your site, Google Analytics is going to naturally separate organic and pay-per-click advertising. And if you work with your provider to UTM code your traffic, then they will show up as two separate categories in your analytics. So if you're using Google Analytics, it's going to do that for you inherently. And you can even get a little bit more data if you get your provider to, it's called UTM code your traffic, and that basically is coding on the link that allows Google to find out what keyword, what campaign, and then you can actually measure your bounce rate or time on site theoretically right down to an individual keyword or ad campaign, not just organic versus non-paid.
Now, AJ apparently is already with Haystak, and he's saying, is Haystak already doing this for me?
It depends what program you're on. We should be doing it for you. If not, I don't know his dealership specifically and what package he's on and what we're doing, but it's something that we can do for him, and my assumption is we are.
Ah, Okay, fantastic. Okay, so AJ, I would just check with your contact over there at Haystak and get rocking and rolling. So we have a couple questions from Joe. Joe wrote in, what's a good average bounce rate on a typical website? And then I'll get to the next question.
For the website in its entirety, we're going to say somewhere between 20 and 30%.
Okay.
Now, bounce rate, the more aggressive you are, the more traffic you draw to your site, bounce rate's going to go up, right? So an increasing bounce rate is not inherently something that's bad. So what you want to do is make sure it doesn't get out of control. When you look at a search ad, certain areas of your search ad are going to have very, very low bounce rates. Certain areas of your search campaigns are going to have higher bounce rates. Display is going to produce, once again, the highest bounce rate. We see bounce rates between 40 and 80%. And again, depending on how aggressive you're being, those are, it's all, there's, relevant sections of it. But if you look at your site as a whole, it should generally be between 20 and 30%.
Okay, follow-up question from Joe. He says, how much percentage of my pay-per-click budget should I spend with Facebook?
None. You should not take any of your pay-per-click budget and move to Facebook. Absolutely zero, not a single penny. If you want to do Facebook and you find it valuable, you need to have incremental dollars going to Facebook. The ROI on Facebook is significantly lower than that of display, that of retargeting, or that of search marketing. And so I wouldn't encourage any customer to reduce their search budget to take advantage of Facebook. Now, the other side of that is I think there are some very tremendous opportunities for dealers on Facebook. And I think there's a lot of misnomers about what dealers can do or are doing with Facebook. So, for example, let's say you have a Facebook page and you're posting on that Facebook page. Facebook will tell you that they only deliver that post that you make to 16% of your fans on average, that the other 85% of them never see it, and that there's so many posts that are made every day on Facebook. Actually, Facebook says there's 3.2 billion interactions on Facebook every day. That's a post, a like, a comment. And if you went back to my earlier first slide, it would take you 100 years to count the 3.2 billion. So what they do is when you post on Facebook, they look at something, your post has something called an edge rank, and that's like Facebook's quality score. And that's comprised of three things. That is comprised of the user's connection to your page. That is comprised of the weight of the object, meaning is it a photo or video or just text. And it's also comprised of something called time decay. And that comes with your edge rank. So it's only going to show posts that it thinks are the most relevant to any individual user. And they say on average, if you post on your Facebook page, only 16% of your customers are going to see it. However, if you promote that post, which is an advertising product they have, you can increase significantly the number of people that see your posts. So I would never cut my pay-per-click budget to add Facebook, but to move money to Facebook. I think you'd be hurting your total overall ROI. However, if you are investing in Facebook and spending time managing your page and you're not spending money there advertising, I think you may be making a mistake, because far fewer of your fans are seeing your messages than I think people perceive.
Very interesting. Thank you so much for that insight, Duncan. Joe, I hope that helped you out. Hey, we're going to get to one last question from our dear friend AJ. He says...
Make it a good one.
Make it a good one. Okay. So remember when you talked about beer? He said, how does the beer percentage change if you take Duncan Scarry and AJ Maida out of the equation?
Oh, well, that might be, I think Duncan Scarry and AJ Maida drink 100% of the beer, right?
Not 80%?
When I posted on my Facebook page, I posted that link to that video, and I said AT&T predicted the future, and I said I can too. I'm going to go drink some beers, and it's going to continue like that for several years to come. So we are definitely, I would say me and AJ are definitely key components of the 20%.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. AJ's clapping for you. He's already written in. Duncan, that was absolutely, absolutely fantastic. You were en fuego, dude, and I'm so happy you came here. And please please find some time in your schedule in 2013 to revisit us here and do another webinar with us. Would you please?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Obviously, we're past the top of the hour. Duncan, you surprised everyone today. Actually, it's no surprise. If you want to know more about Duncan Scarry and Haystak, please visit Haystak.com. And I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. And please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. So just go to dealeron.com/webinars, and there you can view our upcoming webinar schedule and access any of our past webinars too. Also, don't forget at the conclusion of today's webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We need to know your feedback. And please give Duncan some high props. He did an absolutely great job. And today we're going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. And invitations will be going out next Friday for our next webinar on November 29th. Obviously, we're off for Thanksgiving. So November 29th, we're going to be doing a webinar, Going Pro in 2013, Personal and Professional Strategies to Build a Healthy Income. So if you're ready to make 2013 the year you become the superstar of your dealership, then Jen Suzuki of eDealer Solutions is going to show you how. If you're looking for ways to grow your own leads and close more prospects and also learn how to sell a consistent 20-plus, 30-plus cars a month, then you need to spend an hour with us on November 29th. With the goal of profitability in mind, this fast-paced one-hour webinar is perfect for all sales consultants and BDC reps, and will highlight goal setting, time management, CRM organization, training tools, and your social image. So you owe it to yourself to see how you can make more money in 2013. You simply can't miss this presentation by your friends at DealerOn. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And on behalf of all of us here at DealerOn and Haystak Digital Marketing, I want to wish all of you a very safe, healthy, and happy Thanksgiving. Again, my name is Eliana. I love hearing from you, so track me down online or email me at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and we hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.